It's Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studio that is First Horizon Park right here in Nashville as the Sounds get set to continue their series against the Memphis Redbirds, their final home series of the season, final home stand of the series. Former co-worker George Plaster encroaching on us over here as some of us are actually trying to do some work. Really? Yeah. Well, that's what they call it.
Having a big time out here at First Horizon, just like we always do.
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see George. Thank you for being here. And yeah, it's a busy day, and you can feel the buzz in the ballpark. Every time we've been out here, it has been a blast.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the weather has been a little bit more oppressive than others. These last couple of trips have been really nice, and it's always good to be at the ballpark.
Yeah, and the Sounds, they're coming on the last couple games of the homestand and the home stretch for the season. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if you want to catch a Sounds game at home, tonight may be your best chance to do so for the rest of the year.
Yeah, what is it? Francine?
She is
Francine,
not the former ECW valet for all the wrestling diehards, but yeah, she is coming on with a quickness, and it is going to be an interesting next couple of days. You got that right.
Yeah, Francine sounds as if she's going to take no prisoners when she gets here. So, but yeah, great show lined up today. In the second hour, we will visit with our NASCAR expert Heather Williams as we wrap up the opening round of the playoffs down in Atlanta and get ready for the next round. In the next segment, we are scheduled to be joined by Nashville Sounds manager Rick Sweet, as again we wrap up the Sound season the same way we started. If you recall, we were down here for Media Day and we got Rick on. And so we're going to get him on one more time here to kind of wrap things up here from First Horizon Park. We'll also be talking a little Braves, and we can't have nice things, clearly. I mean, we'll talk more about that later, but we'll talk a little Braves, we'll talk a little Astros, a little college football, a little pro football. And again, it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday. We will close out the show with the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe, as we do every Wednesday. And trust me when I tell you, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wacky.
Wild and Wacky is the one segment that you can pretty much set your watch by. It is going to deliver.
We do not oversell Wild and Wacky.
We don't. We just, and we don't really, have to go very far sometimes to find this. Sometimes the stories just find us. It's almost as if the universe puts us right exactly where we're supposed to be with some of these.
There you go. And we like it like that. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what the show is going to look like. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's start with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the Rundown.
This is the Rundown.
To the Rundown we go, and volleyball scores coming in hot from last night. We start things off with Gallatin, who was victorious over Beach. 3-0 was your final there. Blackman picks up a 3-1 win versus Rockvale. Cookville on top of Smyrna 3-0. Eagleville dispatching Fayetteville 3-0 was your final there. Murfreesboro Central Magnet taking care of Giles County 3-0. Collinwood with a 3-0 win versus Hampshire. Houston County versus Santa Fe, and Houston County wins that one 3-1. Also a 3-1 score between Lebanon and Laverne. Lebanon winning that one. Middle Tennessee Christian 3, Providence Christian nothing. It was Loretto. Have two scores listed. Not sure if that's a misprint, but either way, we see Loretto and Perry County tangling, and we have Loretto 3, Perry County nothing. Whether that's one win or two wins, I'll let you guys figure it out. But either way, it's a win. Is a win for Loretto.
Yep.
Riverdale and Siegel battling to a 5-set thriller, and it's Riverdale winning that one 3-2. Spring Hill on top of Coffee County 3-0. White County defeating Stewart's Creek 3-0, and Summertown takes care of Lewis County 3-0.
On the pitch, Cane Ridge downs Antioch 4-0 in the battle of Southeast Davidson County. Blackman doubles up Rockvale 2-1. It was Franklin 6, Brentwood 1. Summit with a 7-2 victory over Centennial. White House Heritage blanked Clarksville Northeast 1-0. Cookville with a 5-0 win over Laverne. Richland doubling up Cornersville 2-1. I'm sorry, I said Cookville 5, Laverne nothing. That was the final there. Richland 2, Cornersville 1. East Robertson 3, Greenbrier 1. Harpeth with a 6-0 win over Ensworth. Fairview edged Sycamore 4-3. Providence Christian with a 7-2 win over Franklin Christian. It was Battleground Academy 2, Franklin Road Academy 1. Good Pasture defeats Christian Community 9-2. Columbia Academy and Grace Christian of Franklin played to a 2-2 draw. It was Hendersonville 1, Christ Presbyterian 0. Independence 1, Page 0. Clarksville with a 4-0 win over Kirkwood, and Tullahoma all over Lawrence County 9-0.
Tough loss for the Lady Wildcats. Covered them last week, and they were really trying to put together a nice second half of their season. Got a lot of work to do there. To the bottom half of our results from last night, it was Stewart's Creek with a 4-0 win versus Lebanon. Liberty Creek taking care of Davidson Academy 9-0. Cheatham County with a 4-1 win versus McEwen. Merrill Hyde on top of White House 5-1 was your final there. Harpeth picks up a 3-0 win versus Montgomery Central. Murfreesboro Central Magnet defeating Marshall County 9-0. Macon County 3, Portland 1. It was Ravenwood 1, Nolensville 0. Rossview picks up a 9-0 win versus Springfield. It'll be Siegel 5 and Riverdale 2, rewinding from last night. Lincoln County with a 5-0 win versus Spring Hill. University School of Nashville defeating Middle Tennessee Christian 9-0. Columbia all over Warren County. 7-1 was your final there in favor of the Lions. Glencliff with a 4-1 win versus Watertown. And it was Wilson Central 3, Smyrna 0.
Major League Baseball action, the Atlanta Braves with a 12-0 win at Washington over the Nationals. More on that later in the show. In 12 innings, Oakland upends host Houston 4-3. Right here at First Horizon Park, Memphis opens the series with a 5-3 win over the Sounds. WNBA action, the Minnesota Lynx defeated the Atlanta Dream 70-64. It was the Liberty 105, the Wings 92, and Connecticut with an 86-66 win over the Sparks.
To the schedule we go. A couple of contests to tell you guys about tonight. We start with high school volleyball action as Hampshire is at Loretto. 5 p.m. will be your opening serve tonight. Giles County is going to travel to Central Magnet tonight up in Murfreesboro. That game is going to be played at 6. That game is moved up a day early due to weather anticipatory conditions for tomorrow. Into Major League Baseball now we go. 5:45, the Braves are at the Nationals, and that game can be seen on MLB Network or Bally Sports South East. The Athletics are at the Astros, and that game gets underway at 7:10. Local television or MLB Extra Innings there to watch that one. The Sounds and the Redbirds continue. 6:35 will be your first pitch here tonight. Should be a good one here at First Horizon Park. And WNBA schedule tonight, got a triple header on tap. Couple of games on NBA TV, in fact, including the opener. The Aces are at the Fever at 6 p.m. It'll be the Mystics at the Sky at 7. And then the back half of that NBA TV doubleheader and capping our WNBA schedule will be Seattle at Los Angeles. Game gets underway at 9 o'clock. That is your WNBA scoreboard or schedule for tonight. That is your schedule for this evening. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is today's rundown.
Top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and run through there to check out their delicious daily deli lunch items available from 11 a to 6 p. Also, their hand-cut meats and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. Hockey time is coming. You know,
coming up quick.
It really is, especially if you are a Nashville Predators rookie. It got here about an hour ago as they began workouts out at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, and will be working out the next couple of days in anticipation of the NHL Rookie Showcase that Nashville will be hosting beginning Friday. First time since 2019 that the Predators have hosted the NHL Rookie Showcase. So, you know, if you need to get your hockey fix, now is a great time to do it.
Yeah, season's going to be getting cranked up sooner than we know. The rookies getting going. Then we'll get rolling into the big dog training camp, and then preseason and regular season not too far behind. And I mean, this is a season that the Nashville Predators enter with some expectations, and I think the level of excitement is kind of something that we haven't seen in this city in a long time. So this will be an interesting and entertaining campaign for Nashville, and I think if you're looking to catch them, you might ought to catch them early, because if they start getting on a roll, those are sometimes the hottest tickets in town, and Nashville will come out and will pack the place out. In the rookie class for the Preds, I'm not exactly a NHL rookie expert, but I do know that they seemed at the time they were very excited with the selections that they did make, and I know I trust Barry Trotz, and I trust the managerial staff for the Preds to put those guys in the right position. So I think the rookie class, whether it's this year or, potentially 2-3 years down the road, they could be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, you kind of said it, Wade. I think that there are some expectations around this team. I think back to the end of the 2022, I guess 22-23 season, where they made a lot of trades at the end of the year, kind of felt like they were retooling things. And then last year, they really came out and they were competitive. Now, they had that long run of point streak that they put together that really kind of put them in a pretty good spot for the back half of the season. But they exceeded what the expectations were coming into the season last year, which means you kind of accelerate things a little bit. And then they made some more moves here this past offseason. They got some young talent. They moved some young talent. But I think it's like you said, I feel like there are some expectations around this team this time around. I think they've got expectations. I think this fan base has expectations. We've talked to Ann Kimmel from Penalty Box Radio. We've talked to Teresa Walker. I think this is a season to be excited about this team.
Yeah, and you said it best. I mean, last year was kind of a happy-go-lucky, real spunky kind of effort from the Preds in the second half of the season during that point streak that literally catapulted them from completely out of the playoff picture to in the playoffs. This year is going to be a little different. You're not heaping. It's not cup or bust, but it's just below that based on the moves they made this offseason. And those aren't expectations from just right here in Nashville. Those are expectations from folks across the league. So the moves that the Preds made, coupled with the fact, that they had a little bit of success, maybe, quote unquote, put them a year ahead of schedule last year. This will be an interesting season. And if they hold up their end of the bargain based on what they did in the offseason, this will be an exciting year for Nashville.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many of the guys that are in town right now are going to be involved in that, but three of the Preds picks in this most recent draft are in town right now. Miguel Marquez, Hiroki Goshik, and Jacob Malota, a goalie, are all here for rookie camp and will take part in the rookie showcase. Also, some guys that came over in trades either late in the regular season or over the off season, including, again, another goalie, Magnus Krona, who the Predators picked up in the trade with San Jose that cost a goalie, I guess.
Yes.
But so looking forward to seeing him, along with forward Jordan Frasca, came down from Pittsburgh in the Cody Glass trade. So between draft picks and trade acquisitions, they've got some young talent that is going to be on display, here over the next few days, both in rookie camp and in the rookie showcase. So this is pretty exciting time right now before, again, they swing into the real camp, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of just the appetizer, right? Just to get you going and just to get you revved up, because as exciting as, potentially this season could be when you bring in guys like Jonathan Marchessault and Steven Stamkos that really kind of draw the attention of the NHL. Like you just said, they've got some really promising prospects in the pipeline, and Nashville has prided itself on the ability to develop those prospects, maybe better, or certainly in the upper half of franchises in the NHL over the years. And that's kind of goes back to my original point. I trust Barry Trotz more than I think I trust a lot of folks when it comes to identifying and developing talent. So you got an exciting core, you got an exciting season ahead, but you also got some promising prospects coming down the pike as well.
Absolutely. The full training camp begins September 18th, which is a week from today. So if the rookies don't necessarily get you going, you don't have to wait too long before, the actual team starts to hit the ice. So give you a little something to look forward to there. Again, they will start work a week from today, again, at Fort Ice Center, Bellevue. Apparently practices will be taking place. They will divide into 3 different groups in practice. So you can, I guess it's open. You can get out there pretty much any time and see somebody working, sounds like. So should be a lot of fun for you hockey heads. 62 players on the training camp roster. 32 forwards, 21 defensemen, 8 goalies. The large bulk of those 48 are under contract with the Preds, 7 to the Milwaukee Admirals, and 7 either unsigned draft picks or professional tryout agreements they are on. So the first preseason game is set for September 22nd against the Panthers. It's a split squad doubleheader.
Versus the champs.
The champs is here. Followed by a home-and-home matchup September 27th and 28th with the Lightning, and then 2 games against Carolina at Raleigh on the 2nd of October and at Bridgestone on October 5th. On September 25th, the team will head up to F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville for a Gold Star Showcase, which will benefit the Special Operations Warrior Foundation.
I was just going to say, I got no idea what that is, but it sounds pretty cool. And the fact that it's at that new F&M Bank Arena sounds really intriguing.
It really does, yeah. They will officially open the regular season October 10th against the Dallas Stars. So opening night is less than a month away. It is here. I mean, it's snuck up on us.
Yeah, coming up quick. And, again, I just pulled up the odds. They're listed at 18-1 to hoist the cup. Like I said, they're not the cup. It's not cup or bust just yet for Nashville, but man, it's getting close.
18-1 that ain't bad.
Yeah, not too shabby. We'll ask Coach Sweet here in just a moment about that. But yeah, Edmonton's up. They're your favorite, followed by the Panthers, then the Stars, the Leafs, the Rangers, the Devils, Avs, Hurricanes, and the Canucks and the Preds, 18-1. So they're comfortably in the mix. I mean,
absolutely.
They are listed in the upper half of teams in the Western Conference for sure.
Okay. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return to the Lee Company Studios here at First Horizon Park, we will be joined by the winningest manager in the history of the Nashville Sounds, Rick Sweet. Stay tuned when we come back. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
He shoots, and he scores!
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We're coming to you from Lee Company Studios right here at First Horizon Park in Nashville, and we are joined by the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest manager in the International League, Rick Sweet, now joining us. Rick, appreciate you taking some time with us, man.
Well, my pleasure. I got to admit, I've never been called all of that. Wacky's never been a name, but I'll add it to my list.
Resume bullet point right there.
Hey, you want to have everything available, so I'll go by Wacky for a while.
Rick, final game of the season last year, you became the winningest manager in Nashville Sounds history, surpassing another former catcher in Trent Jewett. I don't know what it is about catchers and that success in the dugout, but you guys have won 80 games each of the last 2 years. After dropping last night's 5-3 decision to Memphis, you're sitting at 73. I don't know if 80 wins 3 years in a row means anything to you or not. I don't know. What does a minor league manager measure his success by?
You know, I'll be to tell you that it would be wins, I'd be lying to you. Because wins for me are not what my job, description is. My job description is to get guys ready to play in the big leagues so our big league club can win. And that's really what I've worked for Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy. When I say work for it at AAA level, and my job was to have players ready for them to win. And same thing with Craig Counsell when he was here. Now I've got Pat Murphy. I adjust my style and my game to what they do up there. So when we send a player up, he falls right into place with what they're doing.
What's your best Dusty Baker story?
I got to tell you, Dusty is one of the classiest men I've ever worked for. And I a story I guess would be when I sent a guy up to the big leagues, and I gave the description of what this player was going to do to Dusty, and I don't want to name the player, but I said he's going to do this, he's going to throw guys out, he's going to make a great play, he's going to throw to the wrong base. I said he's going to overthrow a cutoff man and let the go-ahead run get into scoring position. So we played the game that night after. So I sent this kid to the big leagues. That night after the game, Dusty called me. And he said, I was going over your list of stuff that you said this kid was going to do. And I said, yeah. Did I miss something? He said, no. But he goes, you didn't tell me he was going to do it all in one night. The kid had gone up, thrown a guy out, missed a cutoff. He did everything. So,
but at least he was ready, though, right?
I think maybe I better get my managers ready more so than the players ready. Now, Dusty is, like I said, one of the classiest men I've ever met in a game, both on and off the field.
How much interaction do you have with those guys? I mean, I would imagine it's maybe a little bit more in spring training, but once the season starts and you're wherever you are and they're wherever they are, how much interaction do y'all have?
It depends on the manager. Bruce Bochy I played with, I roomed with.
Both catchers.
I worked for, yeah. Well, we'll get into the catching thing shortly. You brought it up twice now.
I have both of your trading cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's makes me feel honored.
Yeah.
Boch, rooming together, we talked a lot. Now, Pat Murphy's on the other end. I haven't talked to Murph hardly at all, but they've got a couple coaches up there, 3 coaches that have played for me, 2 coaches that have coached with me. I interact with all of them, not so much Murph, so it's a different dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go directly to Murph. He doesn't call me. We go through more the coaching staff. Dusty, we talked at least once a week. Quick phone call. Hey, I got a question. Hey, how's this guy doing? Who would you bring up, this guy or this guy? Dusty always wanted information. Dusty wanted the information because the more information he had, the better decision he would make. So it depends. The way it works nowadays, the communication is via different vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Changed up, sounds like, to say the least. Rick, I wanted to ask you, we talked to this about the players, and we had our general manager on last week, and we talked about this. At the end of the season, as a manager, have you exhausted every way that you maybe know to squeeze out the last little bit of juice from some of these guys? Are you trying anything new at this point, or are you just kind of trying to do what you do best to try and maximize, as you said, getting these guys ready for the next level?
That's a great question. I as you started asking that question and I saw the direction you're going, I started smiling. Because our big league club is not only winning the division, but in that playoff hunt to get a bye in the first round, it's imperative that I keep certain people here for sure, keep their focus on the field, because they may have to go up there. We could have a collision tonight. 2 guys get hurt, and all of a sudden, bang! I send 2 guys up because we gotta keep them going up there. So it's important, but it's easier to do when your major league club's in the hunt. We've played a couple of clubs in the last 2-3 weeks that their major league club wasn't in the hunt,
yeah,
and you could tell their players were shutting down. They were getting ready. Hey, we got a week and a half, 2 weeks left, ready to go home. Some are making a push for contract for next year. Looking to find a job either outside an organization or stay within the organization. We've been lucky here. The Brewers have been in the playoffs, 6-7 years, almost consecutively. So we're in the race all the time, and it's important and easier for me to keep these guys, their juices flowing, and keep them focused on the game, because they may be up there tomorrow and they better be ready to play.
To an extent, it sounds like, motivation is not necessarily maybe the question or issue for you in this club, more so just man management and making sure everything is kind of okay and no boats are getting rocked that don't need to be rocked.
You're right, because they start thinking other thoughts. Players aren't very smart. And I was a player much at one time, and I wasn't very smart when I was a player either. They start thinking about what's going on and trying to figure out what the big league club's thinking and they're wrong most of the time. I'm absolutely shocked at what guys will come in. My number one word is communication.
Yeah.
I communicate with guys all the time in my clubhouse, on the field, during games. You'll see me interact with guys. And it's always that communication, keeping them updated. This is what's going on. And sometimes I hear stuff back from them, and in my head I'm thinking, what is he talking about? It's like, have you been watching this game for your whole life?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic, but for us, communication is the biggest thing. I make sure I communicate with them. They know what's going on.
Makes sense.
Rick Sweet, manager of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Rick, as you mentioned, you did play. I think 84 was your last season with the Mariners.
Yep.
Spent a couple years as a coach before getting your first managerial assignment in 1987. Did you ever feel like 37 years later you'd still be in a dugout?
Probably not. 50 years in the game's a long time. There's not many guys, and especially 50 years in the game with a smile on my face and loving it and looking towards 51. So no, when I started managing, I knew I was going to manage. I think we talked about catchers. The reason there are so many catchers that manage or coach in the game, it's the only position. There's two worlds in baseball. You got your offensive world and your pitching world, and they're two separate entities. The dynamics in those two areas, it's like opposite worlds. And the only guy that has a little path between both worlds and is accepted in both worlds are catchers. So actually, we have an insight. We have an insight to hitters that pitchers don't have, and it works the other way. More importantly, we have an insight into pitchers, which hitters have no clue what they're thinking. So that's why you see so many catchers involved, because we get to work in both worlds.
You, again, as a minor league manager, and particularly at the AAA level, your primary focus is getting guys to the majors.
Yeah.
Any disappointment at all at the fact that you've not managed at the major league level?
Sure. I when I talk to players all the time, yes, I want to manage in the big leagues. Absolutely. Now I'm 72 years old. I'm not sure that's coming. Although, Tony La Russa went up. They brought my good friend Bochy back. So it could
Ron
happen.
Washington.
Ronnie's a great example. Absolutely. I've known Ronnie for forever. We played against each other. So, yeah, am I disappointed? I don't think that's the word yet. Maybe at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to manage, and I don't hide that from my players. Even though I tell players all the time, I care more for your career than mine. Because
you care for yours too. Right?
Yeah, I do care for mine. So I'm not going to lie to you, but I do things for them that don't jeopardize me, but I do it for them because I know it's what's best for them. And that's where my focus is right here. If I were to get a big league job managing, this is the time of year where that starts popping up. A couple of jobs are open in the big leagues. Will I get interviewed? I don't know yet. I will make sure that the people that have those job openings know that I would love to be their manager. I think I have a unique skill set for certain organizations, and I'm prepared for anybody to call me and do an interview. I'm a good Boy Scout, ex-Marine, and everything else that goes with it. I'm prepared. I believe in being prepared.
Played parts of 4 seasons at the major league level: 78 with the Padres, 82 with the Mets, and final 2. And I'm also with the Mariners in 82 and 83.
Right.
So, again, parts of 4 seasons at the major league level, during which this guy hit 300 against Charlie Huff, the knuckleballer, 333 against Rick Sutcliffe, 400 against Dennis Eckersley.
Don't tell Eck that.
429 against Lynn Barker, and absolutely owned Jack Morris at 450.
Some guys you saw better than other guys. All those guys pretty good pitchers.
Yeah.
And the fun part about that is I got to catch a couple of Hall of Famers, a couple guys who won Cy Youngs while I was with them. So I got to play with some pretty good pitchers too. Back in those days, we were four teams less, and they, not a lot of rookies made it into the game. It was a hard nut to crack to get in. So, I felt pretty good getting where I'm from in the Northwest. When I was drafted, there were only 2 scouts in the state of Washington. So you had to get out of the Northwest, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana. You had to get out of those states if you wanted to get seen in professional baseball, because nobody scouted up there. They all, scouted in California, which is where I was seen. I went to school at Gonzaga in Spokane, and we went down south every year to play in California and Las Vegas, teams down there. So that's how I got seen.
We talked with you last time. It was during March Madness, and you professed your love for your Bulldogs
my
back
thanks.
then.
Absolutely. It's fun. That's a small school. It's really a fun school, and they've made quite a name for themselves.
And we saw Mark Few even with the Olympic team this past year, which was really cool.
On the bench, he's done a fantastic job. I mean, it started out right before him, but he came in and he took it out. And he took it to new heights. I mean, he's taken that school to places that no other small school has been.
As a Gonzaga fan, as a Gonzaga alum, watching Mark Few and watching what he's done there for the length of time that he's done it, I mean, are you pretty well convinced that he's going to end his career there, or do you think he maybe takes one last shot at a big-time spot?
I don't know Mark, so I can't speak on that, but I will tell you he professes he loves fishing. He loves the Northwest. I think he's made his mark. He will definitely go be a Hall of Famer just where he's at right now. Would he want to, especially with all the changes in college sports? I don't think he'd want to go out and put up with all the BS that's going on with the college sports right now at a big name college. I think he's established himself. He's got things going. I'd almost think he'd be crazy to go take a big name school and take on all the headaches that would bring. It might take away from his fishing.
I was going to say, well, yeah, that's
not necessarily in that order, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that perhaps is the most important. But yeah, you're right. There's something to be said for being the biggest. Well, pardon me, fish in a small pond.
Oh, there you go.
And he has certainly got that going for him. I want to backtrack just real quick though. We were talking about catchers, and you kind of painted that picture of being able to walk the line and enter both locker rooms and worlds. What can you tell us about these? We've interviewed quite a few Sounds pitchers this year, and it seems like almost to a man, these guys have really been locked in. Some we've seen already go on to the big leagues just this season. What can you say about this staff as a whole, and even not just the starters, but the bullpen guys as well?
Well, I think what we do as an organization, it starts with the Milwaukee Brewers. I've been here 11 years now, and I have never seen an organization or been with an organization that can look at a guy and look at his numbers. You hear about all the numbers that we use in baseball right now, and we are probably one of the premier teams as far as how we use our numbers. We go out and find guys, and guys want to come here because they know we're going to make them better. We find things for guys that shows up on the field all the time. Not only the guys we drafted, but people we bring in. So I think a lot of that credit goes to the organization and how we teach, what we teach. Tampa Bay is another organization, which is what we're modeled after. Tampa Bay that do the same thing. So, Jeremy Accardo was here for the first half of the year. Then he left us. I don't know if you know, Patrick McGuff is our pitching coach now.
Okay.
Jeremy took a job which he could not. They made him an offer he could not refuse. He is now at Arizona State, the head pitching coach at Arizona State. So he left us, and McGuff stepped right in, young guy, stepped right in. He knew our analytics. He knew how we did things. He knew how, because he's been our bullpen coach, and he's done a great job. And I think I'll go back to, again, communication. That's the biggest thing that we do. We find guys, we have a plan for them, we teach them, we show them the plan, and they buy in because of our reputation.
You mentioned it a second ago, the numbers that are available to you. How much of a transition has that been? The whole metrics and analytics and all of that.
It's unbelievable. This game, in my 50 years, I'll just go the last 10 years with the analytics, has totally changed the game. Now, you notice I'm not saying for the good or for bad.
Mm-hmm.
Change the game. That's it. If you don't want to, you don't see a lot of gray hairs. I'd venture to say I'm by far the oldest guy in this league. I know there's some guys in their 60s, managers, coaches, but I've adjusted to what analytics and actually I wonder how much better a player I would have been if I had some of this information. I don't know that.
Right.
But I definitely would look at it and think, that kind of changes my opinion on what I used to think. So analytics are a huge part of the game. I think if anything, we're backing off some of the analytics because it's too much.
I wondered about that. Can you have too much information?
Absolutely. Some guys can handle it, but some guys can't. It hurts some guys, and they need to
paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. You saw me or heard me talk about how some guys, you just shake your head like guys will say stuff. What are you thinking? Where how could you possibly come up with that answer? So the analytics can be too much. I think we are very careful with how much we give them. You still, if you give it to one guy, you got to give it to the other guy, especially at our level here, because they're going to get it all in the big leagues.
Right.
Now in A-ball, we're very careful. We don't let them into the analytics. We got to be there with them all the time. These guys here can jump on the iPad and get the information they want.
I love, I'm just visualizing a scenario. You mentioned the player coming in and trying to craft all the scenarios. I'm just picturing like a crazy scientist here. If this guy does this, then that means I go here and then this and there. I'm sure you've probably heard just about every scenario. And then you said it a moment ago, you look at a guy and say, what the heck are you talking about? You have no idea, it sounds like.
Yeah, so sometimes they'll come up with something and you'll shake your head and say, okay, and that's where a good communicator, okay, obviously I didn't explain that right. It's got to be on it's got to be on me.
Right.
Okay.
I got to come up with a better way to explain this for this guy.
Yeah.
That happens not a lot, but it does happen. And I'm always prepared. I learned a long time ago, if they don't understand and they're not getting it, that's on me. It's my job to come up with I firmly believe that. It's my job to come up with a way to communicate it to him so he understands it. And you don't get that from a lot. I certainly didn't get that when I was coming up as a player. I mean, when I came up as a player, if you didn't figure it out yourself, you didn't make it. Now, again, I've got 7-8 coaches in there, 2 trainers, 2 strength guys, 2 hitting guys, 2 pitching guys. I've got a third base coach, second base coach. I've got a video guy. We have 9 cameras set up every day. Every game we play, we have 9 cameras set up around this stadium, various angles of our players. And then the players can go back and look at every one of their at-bats, look at every play that happens. They can get to it instantly because of the iPads and the way it's set up. The information is mind-boggling that we have. Even at this level, you can only imagine what they have at the major league level.
On a different level. I was going to say a different phrase, but on a higher level. Hey, real quick, we lost James Earl Jones earlier this week. It made me think of this. I'm loading up with you on a cross-country flight. What baseball movie is Rick Sweet popping in to watch on a cross-country plane ride?
Field of Dreams.
Okay.
I love Bull Durham. I love Bull Durham because
that's what made me think of the conversation with the players. Bull Durham is what was going through my brain.
Bull Durham is because that's the way it was in the minor leagues.
Okay.
Those were the days. Crash was happening. Now, obviously, I know these movies.
Yeah.
But Field of Dreams, I can watch it. If I went and watched it today, I'd get a tear in my eye when he goes, "Dad, you want to have a catch?" I mean, it's not play catch. You want to have a catch. And you talk to ball players, and that hits them. That hits them because most of us were lucky enough to have that opportunity. So those two, but yet, Sandlot. I haven't seen any of those movies. The ones with the kids, and so I don't. But Bull Durham, Field of Dreams.
Haven't seen The Sandlot.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't just because but most of these guys have there.
Okay.
But those are the two I go back to immediately. That if they're on, I stop and watch. I watch the rest of it.
There you go.
Love it.
We could talk to this guy all day, but he's probably got some things he needs to get to. So Rick Sweet, manager of the Nashville Sounds, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return to the Lee Company studios of First Horizon Park after this break, we'll be talking a little bit more baseball of the Major League variety. So stay with us when we come back. Again, thanks, Rick.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rick.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yeah, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
Welcome to JHA Company, your trusted scholastic partner. We continue to serve schools with yearbooks, letter jackets, and graduation regalia. But now we offer so much more. Our school photography division offers high-quality images that capture the spirit and energy of your students and staff. Let us help build your identity, creating a cohesive look that represents your school's values and traditions. Our e-commerce solutions make it easy for schools to manage and sell their branded apparel online. Let's work together to make every school year unforgettable. Visit our website or contact us today to learn more. JHA Company, celebrating achievements, building identities, and creating memories.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. 1998. Gerald Williams homered twice, and John Smoltz struck out 8 in 7 innings as Atlanta defeated visiting Florida 8-2. The Braves moved to 40 games over 500 with the win, while the defending World Series champion Marlins became the first such team to lose 100 games. Marked the first season of their six-year existence that the Marlins had lost in triple digits as they finished the year 54-108. 52 games behind the NL East champion Braves. That was this day in Braves history. 54 and 108 after winning a World Series championship.
Woo.
I mean, how?
That is, that's almost indescribable. That's what's going to end up being. That's Michigan Wolverines football this year, pretty much.
I don't think y'all are that bad.
It's not going to be that bad, but yeah, it's that's the closest parallel I got because I'm trying to think.
I saw a story somewhere online here in the last day or so, just talking about how Michigan's quarterback situation got to be what it is.
It's been rough, and I think everybody in the building obviously was praying that JJ would have came back. But it was like the meme went around this weekend. It was the scene from Batman when Bane is hugging on the plane, and he said they're going to expect one of us in the wreckage, and so it's either Harbaugh or Sharon Moore who gets left holding the bag, and Sharon Moore is left holding the bag because, it's rough. The internet says Georgia Tech apparently won the 1928 national championship. And then went 3-6. Somebody might be able to call in and confirm on that. 2011 Auburn. I don't recall historical levels of ineptitude. They went 8-5.
Oh,
that might be Michigan this year. 8-5. Michigan 1933. They apparently won a national championship and then went 1-7 the next year.
Oh.
So, but all that to say, an MLB perspective. Yeah, I don't know because the Marlins, man, they've done that
a couple of times.
It feels like they sell out, right? Once they win it all,
right.
They ain't doing much after that.
Yeah. So, Braves 12, Nats nothing yesterday, but it came at a cost because everything does.
No.
All good things do for Atlanta these days. Before they scored 12 runs, Ronaldo Lopez was out of the ball game. Lopez going just one inning. His velo was down, his command was down, and this morning turns out he is down. He's on the injured list with shoulder inflammation. So just add him to the list. But the Braves responded. 6 extra base hits, doubles for Soler, Olsen, and Laureano, all in a 4-run third to get the Braves on the board. And subsequent homers by Michael Harris II, Orlando Arcia, and Sean Murphy, again, in a 12-0 win. But Lopez is out. So,
yeah, as I was leaving yesterday, I saw you had fired off a tweet, and it did not sound promising, and I didn't want to explore further because, those guys have been snake bit.
You would like to think that the Braves are like injury exempt from like 25 to 28 after all this, but we'll see how it goes. They continue their short series in DC this evening, 5:45 start. Max Fried goes to the bump for the Braves, 9-8 with a 3.35 ERA. Jake Irvin, 9. That's not right. He's not 9-1. I think that's 9-10. Hold, please. 9-12. Excuse me. 9-12.
There was a 1 in there.
Yeah, but there's another digit in there too. Yeah, Irvin 9-12 with a 4.28 ERA. Getting the start for Washington as the Braves try to sweep the short 2-game series before an off day tomorrow and a 4-game series against visiting Los Angeles. It feels like the way things have gone for the Braves all year that Shohei will probably hit 50-50 this weekend.
Well,
if that's do it in both home runs and steals.
But then the Braves may win the game. How about that? Which, you'll be okay with that.
I would take that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I would take that.
I would take that all day and twice on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So you got we're trying to get the power of positivity going for the Braves. We got to get you turned around here.
Yeah, no doubt. 12 innings. Oakland 4, Houston 3.
Let me get back to you about the power of positivity. I take back.
You're going to check out momentarily.
I'm out on that. Oof, man. Yeah, that was. I was keeping track of the game loosely on my app yesterday, and once I saw that it was like in the 7th inning or 6th inning and they hadn't scored yet, I said, "This is not good. I don't like where this is going." And it did not end well. Houston got back in the game, but man, that is said on the show yesterday, it's not a team that Houston has just been able to completely roll over for whatever reason in the last couple of years.
Did y'all see Mason Miller at all? Did he come in late? Let's see.
Couldn't tell you on that.
He threw a scoreless inning.
I was going to say I wouldn't be shocked because, at the end of the day, hopefully you could get something unless they're throwing maybe a guy of his caliber.
Yeah, he threw a scoreless inning in the 10th, so to keep it tied. Congratulations to Manny Machado, who became San Diego's all-time leading home run hitter last night. Kind of unbelievable that no one had hit more than 163 home runs as a Padre. Nate Colbert had been the record holder and had held it since, he became the all-time leader in 69. So Machado with his 26th home run of the year last night, putting San Diego up 5-2. Again, becomes the all-time leader. Machado's 164 home runs are the fewest by a franchise leader in Major League Baseball. Number 2 is Luis Gonzalez's 224 for the Diamondbacks.
But a relatively newer franchise than the Padres, right?
That is true.
That's a crazy low number, feels like.
There are 6 franchises that have never had a 300-homer player. According to the Padres and the Diamondbacks, Darryl Strawberry leads the Mets with 252. Evan Longoria leads the Rays with 261. Giancarlo Stanton leads the Marlins with 267. And Ryan Zimmerman is the all-time Expos/Nationals leader with 284. Which, I guess, Larry Walker left, Andre Dawson
Black
left.
Guerrero's who I was thinking.
So that's wild.
Ryan Klesko 8th on the Padres list. I thought
Ryan Klesko is 8th on the Padres list.
And Ken Caminiti was 10th, and he only played for them for 3 seasons.
Wow.
So if he'd have played a little bit longer, feels like he might have eclipsed that list. But, that is a kind of almost comically low number there.
Real quick, we told you yesterday that Kumar Rocker is going to make his Major League debut for the Rangers tomorrow night. Jacob deGrom is going to start Friday for the Rangers against the Mariners. It'll be his first start since April of 2023, April 23rd to be specific.
Okay, and 2-3.
Yeah, so that was his 6th start before tearing his ulnar collateral ligament and requiring Tommy John surgery for the 2nd time. So he's so they are, again, Texas is in that find out mode, I guess, for 25. If deGrom can be productive in a couple of starts here at the major league level, then you feel like maybe he's somebody that you can rely on in some role in 2025.
Yeah, it feels like it. And talk about a back-to-back little rollout there.
That ought to get you out to the ballpark.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're looking for an excuse,
come see Rocker and come see deGrom.
Man, back-to-back nights, that will get some folks in the seats, to say the least.
Should sell a couple of tickets out there. So, hour number 1 of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, comes to a close when we return after this break to the Lee Company studios of First Horizon Park. It'll be the grab bag. Stay tuned.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We talked some college football this week, but we did not really talk a whole lot about the top 25, and maybe because it's not a whole lot of change to it. Georgia number 1, Texas and Ohio State flip-flopped at 2 and 3. Alabama is number 4. Ole Miss moves up a spot after their win over Middle Tennessee State to number 5, followed by Missouri and Tennessee. Pretty odd. I'm feeling a little sorry for the Golden Flashes of Kent State.
Oh?
Because they travel to Neyland Stadium this Saturday night and to Penn State next Saturday.
Whew.
I don't know who made their schedule.
Tough back-to-back. Although we did see Bowling Green, man, they gave Penn State all they wanted deep into the fourth quarter. Maybe Kent State will be the MAC team that finally could potentially knock them off. But, yeah, talk about a gauntlet back-to-back weeks. Woof.
Well, you know, I'm sure that Penn State will be on high alert when this MAC team rolls into town after what a certain MAC team did this past weekend.
No doubt. And I mean,
have you seen the meme or the Photoshop of Rudy with a Northern Illinois logo over his Notre Dame letter jacket?
I have not, but that is genius, and I love it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, have I seen the Photoshop of Rudy where he's actually onside and not offside, like he really was in real life and in the movie. So.
You know, I have to beg ignorance. I've said it more than once. I've not seen the movie.
I haven't seen the real clip, but the real clip, he apparently he's lined off a country mile offside from the YouTube from like the 70s that it was based off of. So we joke about the movie, but really in real life, Rudy was, like I said, he was offside. That's not just a Michigan joke. That's a real thing, folks.
It's not even a joke.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
real.
thing.
It's real. But no, I did not see that, but I love that. Northern Illinois, we'll have to get producer Mark to run the audio too, maybe tomorrow on the show, of their radio call, which
God.
was outstanding.
Ooh, I bet it was.
Blocked kick. I mean, and I'm not going to say anymore. We'll dial that up for tomorrow because it is worth a listen.
Penn State again holding on at number 8. Oregon and this is down a couple of spots to 9. Miami, Southern Cal, each up 2 spots to 10 and 11. Utah won this weekend. Cam Rising got hurt again.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Yeah, I saw it on the crawl. Did something to his hand. I'm not sure what his availability is for their game at Utah State this weekend. But Utah, the Utes, are at number 12. Oklahoma State up 3 spots to 13. Kansas State up 3 spots to 14. Oklahoma, despite their struggles with Houston.
Well, think about that. Oklahoma State had to rally back in double overtime versus Arkansas. Kansas State nearly lost to Tulane.
They sure did.
Again after 2 years ago. And then Oklahoma struggled versus Houston. All 3 of those teams, all in a row, nearly went down this weekend.
LSU at 16. Michigan falls 7 spots to number 17. Notre Dame falls 13 spots to number 18. Louisville, Arizona, Iowa State make up 19, 20, and 21. Clemson up 3 spots to 22. Nebraska, Boston College, and Northern Illinois close out this week's top 25. Number 26 is Illinois, for what that's worth. Vanderbilt receiving votes, as is Memphis. Memphis, which faces Florida State and Mike Norvell, as the Seminoles are looking for their first victory of the season. That would be ironic, poetic. I don't know what you call that if it's Memphis that Norvell beats to get its first win of the 2024 season.
Man, it's
got to be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, and Memphis is not a bad team, obviously. They're a team that's gunning for that potential Group of 5 playoff bid. And so Florida State, you could make the case that Memphis is the best team of those 3 that they've played thus far. Boston College is pretty dang good with Castellanos and Bill O'Brien absolutely putting on a clinic up there offensively. But I could make an argument that Memphis is the best team of those 3 that Florida State is going to play, and as fate would have it, that might be the game. You're right that they win this weekend.
You could win a lot of money on bar bets with this one. Between Justin Fuente, who went to Virginia Tech, and I'm not sure where he is now, to Norvell, to current Memphis coach Ron Silverfield, Memphis has put together 10 straight winning seasons.
Okay.
I don't know that anybody would have.
Yeah, no, it's shoot, I thought the punchline was going to be that they've won like 8 or 9 games because you're right. The consistency has been off the charts, despite the fact that they keep losing these up-and-coming head coaches. And when you lose one, you're thinking, okay, that's going to be what sets them back. They're going to fall off. And then, no, they just keep plugging right along. They're 6.5-point underdogs versus Florida State this week.
They're 6.5-point underdogs. They have already secured the bag. They're going to get $1.3 million.
Hey, man,
just for showing up.
That is going to be a big game. And Florida State, we mentioned this too off air the other day. I was completely unaware of this, but Florida State's offensive coordinator is not available on game days. He's serving a 3-game suspension. And I don't know that makes a huge difference. But Alex Atkins is their offensive coordinator. And he's allowed to be at the practices and things of that nature.
Just can't be on campus.
But just can't be on there for game day.
Saturday.
So this will be the last game. DJ in the offense, they need something to go their way. Maybe Memphis will be what the doctor ordered, but I don't know. I think that's going to be a good game coming up this week.
Memphis playing pretty well defensively right now, I think.
Yeah.
They might not be what the doctor ordered for DJU. So, and I don't think Florida State is very far from checking out on him either.
No, the chance for the Lausanne product, Brock, last name escaping me. They were loud in that Boston College game the other night. Brock Glenn, I
Yes.
believe. Yeah, the "We Want Brock" chants were noticeably apparent in the loss to Boston College the other night, and that was before halftime. They are ready to see, and man, yeah, if you start going down to Memphis, and heaven forbid you lose your AC. Well, you played Boston College and Georgia Tech. I was getting ready to. I'm not used to them playing that many
conference
early.
game so early.
I was getting ready to say you can't lose your ACC opener to Cal coming up in 2 weeks. You can't let Cal come in and stomp you around. But who knows?
Well, Cal already beat Auburn.
That's what I'm saying. You maybe Cal is ready to rock and roll after FSU's a little wounded. Imagine
Maybe
you lose to Memphis and then you got Cal coming in.
Maybe Cal is ready to announce their presence with authority in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
You lose to Memphis to go 0-3. And if you lose you literally just have to fire the coach. You have to bench the quarterback. You can't name the offensive coordinator as the interim head coach. You got to just change everything at that point.
I think if Memphis were to pull this off, this might be their biggest win since they defeated Tennessee back in 1996 in the Liberty Bowl.
Man. So, in terms of perception, for sure. I'm pretty sure they probably have beat a ranked opponent. Maybe not to the caliber nationally, right?
Yeah, but just in terms of, like you said, perception, I think that this would get to that.
Oh, man. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers, Florida State this weekend.
Man, they need something good to happen. They really do. We talked a little bit about Christian McCaffrey yesterday following San Francisco's 32-19 win over the Jets, in which they scored on 8 straight drives.
Jets defense was so bad.
Oof, man.
So bad.
That's not good. Apparently McCaffrey may still be out for this second week. Shanahan has said that McCaffrey would have played if it had been a playoff game, but he's definitely iffy for this upcoming game against Minnesota, especially on a short week. So,
yeah, at this point,
if you are a fantasy owner, you might just want to plan on shelving CMC for this one.
Yeah, and exactly right. It feels like if you were already, if he wasn't ready for the opener, playing him on short rest doesn't feel like the right recipe to me.
No.
Especially when we saw what Jordan Mason did.
Yeah, it's not like you got to rush him back. If anybody's rushing back, it might be McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Does the name Wally Pipp mean anything to anybody? We probably didn't pay as much attention to the Paralympics as we should have, but shout out to the United States men's wheelchair basketball team, which became the first ever to win 3 gold medals at the Paralympics, defeating Great Britain in the gold medal game 73-69. Steve Serio almost messed around and got a triple-double, 24 points, 10 boards, and 8 assists. And this will be his final Paralympic Games, he announced afterwards. 3 gold to bronze, 5 world championship medals. That's stout.
Man, talk about, setting a high bar and executing at an insane level. That is getting it done. You said 3rd in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Holding it down, and man. And shout out to our buddy Caleb Giroux, who was over there covering the Paralympics.
What?
Yes. Was been in Paris for like 2 weeks. We could have been
good Lord.
Just got back. Where did I see this? I saw it. I'll tell you where I saw it. I saw it on his Twitter account. Yeah, he was over there for about 2 weeks. Said, quote, his content feed will be looking a little bit different. September, he posted this a couple days ago. After catching up on some sleep, traveling home from Paris, I'm going to put all my work for USA Today from Paralympics into this thread here. And shout out to UT Journalism. 15 stories from France and more to come. He said, my man was putting in work, it sounds like.
That's awesome.
That is very, very cool. Friend of the show, Caleb Giroux, holding it down. And the U.S., like you said, holding it down. And almost, what'd you say? What was that stat line again?
24, 10, and 8.
Woo, man.
24, 10, and 8. That dog will hunt
Absolutely.
anywhere at any level. So congrats to Steve Serio and Team USA. Again, 3-time gold medalist in men's wheelchair basketball in the Paralympics for Team USA. That's impressive.
Wait, hey, Dynasty. We don't lose. We don't. USA ain't in the business of losing in Olympic basketball, regardless.
Clearly
no matter
not.
what type it is.
I wonder if Serio hit him with a nui. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, we will talk a little NASCAR. Stay tuned after the break. Not that one. The
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Wild and Wacky Wednesday continues right here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton, and time to talk a little NASCAR with our NASCAR expert, Heather Williams of WCYB TV out of Johnson City. Heather, happy hump day.
Happy Wednesday, gentlemen. You are the one place I long to be, but we are done with baseball for the season, and that's the ballpark. So
how has baseball been up there with the with the teams up there and them being unaffiliated and that kind of thing, and the what is it, collegiate baseball?
Yeah, it's College Woodbat League now. It's actually worked out really well. Attendance for most of this teams, at least in the west half of the Appalachian League, which are the 5 teams that I cover, has been up in almost every ballpark. I think that there are a lot more local players that play. The Appalachian League previously was low rookie ball, so there were a lot of 16-year-old Dominicans and 24-year-old college students, and just a mishmash of people that maybe the community didn't connect to as much. But there were a lot of ETSU, Tennessee, Virginia Tech, even some Milligans and Tusculum type baseball players that now play in the league, and I think it's really connected to the community pretty well.
Chad Patrick dropping by. We got former we got up and coming future Brewers talking to us on the show today. Heather.
Absolutely, yes.
The beauty of live television, as you well know.
It's big time. I'm jealous. You're at the ballpark. I'm not.
It's a beautiful day out here too. But hey, you've been to some NASCAR races and we've not, so we're even. Tell us what you thought about Atlanta this past weekend and what's next.
Just when you think that NASCAR has hit the top of the drama meter, another race happens. I mean, this season, particularly headed into the postseason, now the first race of the postseason, has been pretty much everything that NASCAR could have wanted or imagined it to be. You had one of the points leader being the first guy out, totaling his car, going from first in the point to 10th in the point in the first race. You have all the off-track drama going on with, and we can get into this more if you want, with the charters, and then Denny Hamlin having an issue in qualifying. He's riding around back to not wreck, and then ends up getting caught in last lap wreck. Anyway, that's very difficult to say. And tumbling in the points. You have Joey Logano, who by Joey Logano standards has had a miserable season, got into the playoffs on that, 800 overtime win that he got there in Nashville. But then all of a sudden the playoffs start and he is on it, wins it. Atlanta is on to the next round already. So, I mean, there were so many storylines, and it was good racing. Atlanta is very different for me now, being a super speedway. So it's not my favorite Atlanta. The racing's good. I personally love the old Atlanta, but it was still compelling racing for sure.
Heather, I'm curious. Last week we laid out all of the playoff implications. We talked about all the playoff drivers, and then you left us by saying, don't be surprised. There will be some drama and some things that come out of the pack that is not necessarily in the playoffs. What was maybe the biggest storyline for anybody, good or bad, that was not in playoff contention in your mind last week?
Of the non-playoff drivers, they weren't that much of a factor in the race. I mean, there were some non-playoff drivers that had some good runs, but they were never really big factors. That race is such a wild card. You just never know what's going to happen. I think there's a really good shot this weekend at Watkins Glen being a road course, that one of these road course, they're not really ringers anymore because they run on all kinds of tracks, but one of these road course experts like an AJ Allmendinger or a Shane Van Gisbergen or someone like that could pretty easily jump up and win this week, and those are not playoff drivers. So I think this next week will be a good chance for one of those non-playoff guys to really mess everything up.
Hey, it's interesting, you're right, that you just laid it out like that. We have a road course smack dab in the middle of this first of 3 playoff races to get us started. So, I mean, kind of not a gimmick, as you said, but this is certainly a unique challenge as we get ready for week 2 of the playoffs.
Well, I think this schedule this year, more than any other year of the playoffs, is really going to challenge how well-rounded these drivers are. The playoffs in the past have really, and NASCAR has slowly kind of gotten away from this in recent years, but it used to very much be a challenge of who's the fastest, right? Who's just got pure speed. We're going to load this playoff up with 1.5-mile tracks, your Kansases, your old Charlotte before they started doing the Roval, your Las Vegas, your Homestead, Miami. But now you look at this first round, and there is not 1.5 miles to be found in this first round. You've got super speedway. Well, I mean, Atlanta is 1.5 miles, but it races like a motor speedway, like a super speedway. So you've got super speedway, road course, short track. So you're going to find who is the most well-rounded driver, not just who's the fastest. I think that's what NASCAR wants.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of tests all of your skills over the course of the opening phase of the playoffs.
Yeah, and then in the second round of the playoffs, you go. I think the second round is Kansas. I'm trying to remember what the first round. I think it's Kansas, Talladega, Roval. So then again, you've got mile and a half, super speedway, another road course. So we're just, pounding all kinds of different tracks at these drivers to really test their skills and see who really is up to the challenge of tackling all kinds of racetracks.
Doesn't really let you get comfortable as a driver, I don't guess, does it?
Oh no, the drivers admitted to me last week at NASCAR Media Day, this is the most nervous they've been going into the playoffs just because of so many quote unquote wild card type tracks in these playoffs, specifically in the first two rounds. If you make it to the round of 8, you've done something.
Yeah. As you said, Watkins Glen coming up this weekend, followed by Bristol. And then you get down to the round of 12, you go to Kansas. You go to Talladega and you go to Charlotte for the Roval. Round of 8 is Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville. That should be fun. And then the championship race is November 10th out at Phoenix. Any thoughts in particular about Watkins Glen other than, again, it being the road course?
Well, they'll be bringing a new tire to
put premium on, yeah.
Yeah, they'll be bringing a new tire out to Watkins Glen. So, and this is supposed to have a lot of fall off. It's supposed to produce the kind of racing, maybe not as extreme, but the kind of racing that we saw at Bristol in the fall where guys are just wanting tires, needing tires, or else they're going to have tire failures. It's going to force guys to pit. It's going to take some of this, I don't want to call it gimmicky, but strategy dependent planning out, because guys in the past on these road courses would just work them from the back. If I got to stop 2 times, I'm going to stop when I need to stop and then stop again. I'm not stopping the rest of the race. So I might just do the whole race on 2 stops or 3 stops or however many stops you think you need. Now you're going to have to stop way more often for tires because tires are not going to last an entire fuel run. So it throws more strategy in there. Or maybe you want to make the tires last an entire fuel run. So you run a little, not quite as hard, a little slower, but you think that that's going to be still faster than making 3 more stops. So it just mixes up the field even more because there's going to be people on all sorts of different strategies. This could get interesting. We could have someone, we look at all these road course guys and we think, oh, Watkins Glen, it's going to be, like I said, Van Gisbergen or AJ Allmendinger or Ty Gibbs is good on the road courses or Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott. But it could be that somebody who's really good at managing tires, like a Denny Hamlin or a Tyler Reddick, who's actually really good on the road courses too, might win this because it becomes a tire management race rather than a true road course race. So I don't know that anyone really knows what to expect this weekend at Watkins Glen.
I'm curious to see how it all shapes out for sure. And Heather, I guess I'm curious also. Is it desperation time for anybody just yet? And if it is, who is it desperation time for? Or is that reserved until next weekend in your mind?
Well, there were some drivers that had some issues for sure, but nobody has got an insurmountable points lead at this one. Like they have to win. Certainly Chase Briscoe, who has no bonus points to lay back on and wrecked it at Atlanta, and I think it's in the 20-something points back, 20-ish points back. Certainly has more urgency than some of the other drivers, but there's nobody in desperation mode at this point, just based on the points, because enough people had issues last week, and the field was bunched up close enough anyway before we went to Atlanta that everybody still can race their way in at this point.
I'm also curious, forgive my ignorance here, perhaps. What happens if Joey Logano wins again this week? Is he just like that much further ahead of everybody, or can he really get just an insane, insurmountable lead? And how far does that carry him? Is that just basically reset after next week's race? Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, they'll reset, but he gets bonus points for winning, so he will get whatever his points are based on his points total. There are different kind of points you can earn. You can earn regular points, and then you earn playoff points. You earn playoff points with wins and with stage wins and those types of things. So he gets to carry over those playoff points. So when they reseed, he'll get those extra points in the reseeding on top of whatever his regular points position is. So he'll be higher seeded going into the next round. And they carry throughout the playoffs. Every time like guys that have won in the regular season, those playoff points, when they reseed, are added on. That's basically how Martin Truex made it through the whole playoffs last year, because he had a miserable playoffs, but he had 70 some playoff points, I think. So every time he just snuck into every round and then got kicked up to the top of the seeding because he had all those playoff points in the regular season.
Heather Williams of WCYB joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Talk a little racing. Joey Logano wins the first playoff race at Atlanta. Team Penske almost goes 1-2. But Daniel Suarez of Trackhouse Racing kind of wedged himself in there, finishing second, just ahead of Ryan Blaney. What is the significance of that win for Suarez, do you think, Heather?
Well, Suarez has secretly become a kind of a master of the new Atlanta. He's run really well. I think this last 3 races, he's gone second, first, second. And so I think if Daniel had his way, we would race at Atlanta every weekend. I think he would really like that a lot. I'll tell you what, he's a guy that has sneakily become pretty consistent and could be a sleeper to get into the round of 8s, maybe even further, because they're just kind of quietly putting together good finishes in heading up into the postseason, and now in the postseason with that second place finish. So I think he's one of those guys that could really upset a lot of people's playoff grid, so to speak.
Okay. You mentioned some off track news.
Yeah. So for stick and ball people, we talk about you talk about franchises. Teams have franchises. In NASCAR, they have charters. Mm-hmm. And the charter agreement for NASCAR is up. And they've been in some pretty contentious discussions about the charter. So NASCAR gave the teams, they gave them a proposal right before Atlanta, before the playoffs started, and gave them a Friday deadline to sign the charter. All of the teams signed the charter except for 2. 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports. And what's really interesting about this is that when the agreement is up, these charters, unlike franchises where you get a franchise, you own them for life, right? Mm-hmm. You just pass them down to your kids, or you sell them and you become a bajillionaire or whatever you do with the money. In NASCAR, they're not like that. They're only last the length of the agreement. So basically NASCAR has told these, I don't want to use threaten, the teams say threaten, but NASCAR has told these team owners that they don't sign the new charter agreement, they have the right to revoke these charters. So 2311 Racing, just for instance, I think they paid something obscene like $40 million for the charter, so that they have the 2 charters, and NASCAR has threatened to just take those. So it is basically like taking $40 million and throwing it in the garbage. But 2311 wants, part of their reason for fighting this new charter agreement is 2311 wants these charters to be theirs. I mean, they paid this obscene amount of money for this charter. They want to own them forever until they sell them to somebody else. Instead of going, this next charter agreement is 7 years. So they would then again own this charter for the next 7 years. And then if they sign another agreement, however long that is, whatever. But if NASCAR ever decided to get rid of the charters, and that money they invested in that is worthless. So there are a lot of people that think, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I can kind of see where 2311 is coming from on that. I mean, that's it. That almost sounds like a racket on NASCAR's part. Well, I mean, the saying always is it's NASCAR sandbox. They can do whatever they want, and they can. Yeah. But there's a belief by some folks. I think Adam Stern from the NASCAR or from the Sports Business Journal is one of the people that has said this. It's 2311 is basically setting this up for some litigation to try to get ownership, complete ownership of those charters.
And it's very interesting that the two teams that didn't sign the charter agreement are the two teams that are looking to expand and have bought. Allegedly, Front Row Motorsports has already bought a charter. I don't know if 2311 has, but they're certainly made no secret that they are planning on buying a new charter for next year. But I think before they invest that money in those charters, they want to make sure that their money is actually being an investment and not just this theoretical thing that may or may not happen. So I don't know what's going to happen. The current agreement expires in December, and you would think that 2311 and Front Row Motorsports would have to have that solved before that, because then their charters really aren't worth anything at that point. But it's going to be really interesting to follow and to see what happens, because like I said, there are people that believe that this might be headed to court.
And Curtis Polk, one of the owners, I love this quote here. He said, "This is this is to Mo's point here. This is in the 1960s, and these predatory practices will not withstand scrutiny and be accepted in 2024." So the ownership for 2311, at least, not really mincing words, it sounds like, on where they stand on things.
Yeah, in so many ways, Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan have kind of shaken the sport up a bit, and a lot of it I think is good. I think most of it's pretty good. I'm a huge fan of what they've done for the sport and the way that they've really just changed a lot of the way the sport operates. I mean, I love NASCAR. I love Ben Kennedy, who's going to be the heir apparent, the guy running NASCAR probably when the next charter agreement comes around, and the direction he's taken the sport. But NASCAR is very much an organization that takes care of NASCAR, and then everybody else just kind of, gets the crumbs at the table. And I think that 2311 is trying to let it be known, you need us, you need race teams, you need the stars. NASCAR is great and people watch NASCAR, and sure, stars come and go, but there's not too often that Michael Jordan is in the sport, and Michael Jordan is in the sport right now. So I think he's using that leverage to try to make it better for everybody else.
Heather, as we consider this situation, I mean, are we running the risk of some folks being without rides if this plays all the way out and NASCAR just, revokes the charters?
Well, they can certainly run as open cars. There are spots for open cars, but open cars get less money and they aren't guaranteed. Like, you have to qualify your way in.
Wow. Okay.
So there's certainly, I don't think like Bubba Wallace is not going to have a ride next year, or Tyler Reddick's not going to have a ride next year, or 2311 is just going to go away. Okay. But it does make things very difficult if they don't get this settled.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, obviously, Bubba Wallace drives for 2311. Denny Hamlin is a co-owner in 2311. Who is their other driver?
Tyler Reddick, who was who was a regular season points champion, by the way.
Okay. And Front Row's drivers are,
and then the Motorsports that Todd Gilliland and Josh Berry. No, wait a minute, that's not right. No, sorry, that's wrong. Noah Gregson. Sorry, got that confused. Josh is going to Wood Brothers. Noah Gregson, and then a still undetermined driver in their third charter. And then 2311 is also supposed to be adding a third team, which is undetermined who that might be.
Okay.
We've also already mentioned James Earl Jones once on this show today, but another reference, because the quote from Polk also said, "I don't believe that the NASCAR, I'm assuming he's talking about, that they're the evil empire. They are no Darth Vader." He points out. So Polk's statement, I mean, he's all over the place, and I was totally unaware of this situation until we got into this discussion today, and now I'm kind of fascinated. I foresee a wormhole in my future.
Yeah, there's definitely a wormhole, and Polk has been kind of the most outspoken person as far as owners go. Denny has spoken some, but he's still a competitor, so there's a fine line that Denny has to walk in all this, and so he's kind of backed down as things have gotten more tenuous, his outspokenness. So Polk's really been the guy he was walking around either Darlington or Atlanta. I think it was Darlington when they were still in discussion, with the sign that said, "Don't ask me about the charter. I don't want to get in trouble with NASCAR," posted to his back.
One way to do it.
That is one way to do it. Heather Williams of WCYB TV in Johnson City joining us here on Main Street Sports, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Heather, is y'all's high school football schedule this week as in jeopardy as ours is by Francine?
Well, we've already had 3 games moved to Thursday. I don't think we're supposed to get the rain that you all are supposed to get, but anytime you mention hurricane or tropical weather, people start losing their minds and start moving games around. So we've got 3 moved to Thursday. I think everybody else is going to chance it and try to play on Friday at this point.
Yeah, everybody figuring discretion is the better part of valor, I guess. We've not had a handful moved here. I know Wade is doing one tomorrow night, but for the most part, as far as I'm aware, everybody pretty much sitting tight. So we
So
will.
did I miss
game of chicken?
Did I miss the memo somewhere along the way where football can't play in the rain anymore?
You know, we all missed it because you're not the first person that's mentioned that to me lately, and I was operating under the same assumption.
I thought we played unless there was lightning.
Never hurt nobody.
I mean, it's rain.
Well, I will tell you this. I have covered games in the rain, and by the time a couple of them have been over, I've been wet in places that I did not know could get wet. And so they can play in the rain. I'm not necessarily excited about covering games in the rain.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If I was going to have to stand out there in the rain, I would. I mean, I don't really. I only shoot one
game. You feel
game.
completely different about it, huh?
Yeah, I only shoot one game, and I only have to shoot a few highlights. So it's like, half hour in the rain, and I'm out. If I had to stay out there the whole game, I might feel different. But I just never. I miss where this cultural shift happened in high school football, where we went to folks not being able to play in the rain, but it's happened.
I think it's a gate issue. What do you think, Wade?
Yeah, it feels like the gate is being cited as the main factor now.
Yeah, I think administrators are convinced that people won't come watch. Go figure. So yeah.
Hey, real quick, one game that will not get rained out, we don't think. 3:25 Sunday, the Chiefs host the Bengals. Heather, are the Bengals as bad as potentially they looked versus the Patriots in Week 1?
I hope so.
They had some unlucky bounces that went their way to lose that game, but man, they also had some boneheaded plays, and it feels like the Chiefs could put up a big number on them this week.
Well, and then I think I saw today on Twitter that T. Higgins hasn't practiced all week, so
they got something going on with that whole receiving core up there that is not good right now.
They tried to get cute a couple years ago before the AFC Championship game, calling it Burrowhead and all that kind of stuff, and one of my all-time favorite Chris Jones moments is when they were calling it Burrowhead, and I don't know how he pulled this off, but the Chiefs won. But before the game, Joe Burrow walked in with a T-shirt with a big teddy bear on it. I don't know if you remember this. And Chris Jones sacked him 3 times in the game, and Chris walked into the post game with 3 teddy bears pinned to his shirt. And I was like, who did he text someone, hey, bring me some teddy bears to the locker room?
Real quick.
I don't but it was chef's kiss if you're a Chiefs fan, because it was so funny.
That is the level of petty to which we aspire here at Main Street Sports today. Heather, we appreciate you. We will see you next Wednesday.
All right. And also, go Royals. They beat the Yankees last night.
Oh, come on.
We can go Royals for another couple of weeks, but I do believe they end the season in a certain city about 4 hours south of here. And so that may not be good. But we can go with that for now.
I mean, they may have already wrapped up their playoff spot by then, so
they may very well have, which will be one of the 2 teams. Heather, thanks.
See you guys.
All right. Hey, when we return to the Lee Company studios here at First Horizon Park on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday. And we will close out the show with some of the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe. You don't want to miss this.
you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
Final segment of Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Time for Wade and I to bring you the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest news from across the globe. We will start. Where will we start? Let's keep it sports to start. How's that?
Yep.
In what, North Conway, New Hampshire, I believe, is the town where this event takes place. 3-day Mud Bowl celebrated its 50th year this weekend. And I don't know if Mark has access to the pictures or not, but they are pretty epic. It's just what it sounds like. Football played in a mud pit.
We just talked with Heather about,
playing in the rain.
Should you be allowed to play in the rain, and how it feels like the administrations are getting soft on the rain. Doesn't sound like they got that problem going on in, what did we say, New Hampshire?
In New Hampshire.
Yeah, man, that is full-blown mud pit status right there.
The annual event takes place at Hog Coliseum, located in the heart of North Conway. Kicked off Friday night with revelry and music, followed by a tournament of mud parade on Saturday. A dozen men's and women's teams competed in this tournament. And again, this event is 50 years old.
Have we not been to the Mud Bowl? I didn't even know it existed until today. I feel like their PR staff is kind of letting them down a little bit.
Yeah. Ryan Martin has played in it for almost 20 years. It gets in the eyes. You get cracks in your feet. You get mud in your toenails for weeks. You get it in your ears, too. You'll be cleaning out your ears for a long time. You'll be blowing your nose, and you'll get some dirt, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I still had that there.
Yeah.
No. It's no.
I've done some Tough Mudders and some Warrior Dash type races. And I mean, man, I can't imagine playing a full-on football game. I feel like the mud, though, would help you a little bit. It would help me out a little bit because, not the biggest individual. And, I don't want to get smoked by some of these folks, but I feel like if you're slippery, it's hard to get a good tackle on somebody. And I might actually be able to stand a chance here. Feel like also ball security would be at an all-time
I
premium.
would think
in this
ball
event.
security would be an issue. A lot of turnovers in this ball game.
Yep.
50 years, the best of 5 decades was the theme. Over 50 years, this event has raised more than $1 million for charity. So,
awesome.
So kudos to them for that. But
maybe we'll get up to Mud Bowl next year. They got this photo of somebody working the chain gang here. I mean, we may have to investigate that for next season.
If my invitation gets lost in the mail, I think I'm okay. Nah. Let's work our way up. How's that?
Okay.
So apparently, there are times in the United States where a dime is worth more than 10 cents. And I guess,
tell me more.
I guess if you are a trio of siblings from Ohio, 3 sisters inherited a dime kept in a bank vault for more than 40 years. They knew it had some value, but they had no idea how much until recently. Apparently, this 1975 dime could bring as much as $500,000.
Oh, my.
There is an online auction ongoing for the dime. What makes it so valuable is apparently the dime was struck by the San Francisco arm of the U.S. Mint, but the S that would denote that it was minted in San Francisco, some kind of way got left off. That happened to 2 dimes out of the San Francisco Mint. The other one sold back in 2019 for $456,000. So apparently the Mint made 2.8 million special uncirculated proof sets in 75 featuring 6 coins sold for $7. Collectors a few years later discovered that the 2 dimes from the set were missing the mint mark. And the sisters have one and have had it in their bank vault.
So you're telling me, I mean, somebody asleep at the wheel or whatever the situation is forgot to mark one little S.
Mm-hmm.
And now as a result, that coin is worth $500,000?
$500,000. A dime. A 10-cent piece is worth $500,000. What is the markup on that?
My mind cannot process that. Bitcoin couldn't even compare, because this is crazy. 450. What do we say? 456,000
is what the other one sold for back in 2019.
Who's buying this, by the way? Like, what is the
why?
What are you doing
and why?
with that? Yeah, exactly. What are your intentions?
To say you've got it?
Hey, here's my dime. Of course, as you know, it's missing the one S, and it's worth $500,000. I had no idea. I mean, imagine that. That could have been in my pocket at one point in time, and I would have had no clue. And I could have just tossed it and spent it on to somebody, and then these sisters end up with it, and they're like, "Ooh, I got to get my hands on that. That's the $500,000 dime right there."
I guess I need to be paying a little bit more attention to the coins in that little compartment between my driver's seat and my passenger seat, which is where all my change goes. I need to be checking that out a little bit more closely. This 1975 no S proof dime will be displayed at a coin show beginning today in Tampa. While the online auction for it continues. While there is a chance more examples of the rare dime are out there, they would only be found among the 1975 proof sets and not in anyone's pocket change.
Well, it's easy for them to say, though.
Thank you for busting my bubble. I appreciate it.
Guess what? I'm gonna keep looking.
Yeah, I thought I was getting set for retirement.
And I mean, imagine that you showing that off to somebody when you just got your thumb just a little extra. There's no S right here.
Right.
And look at this. This is no S.
See?
I don't know.
Where's my $500,000?
I didn't know 10 cents could be so expensive.
Yeah, right. In Norway,
as any good story starts.
Yeah, right. A young golden eagle has attacked at least 4 humans.
Ooh.
Well, I say has attacked. Most recently, it attacked a 20-month-old girl. The girl's father said that the girl's mother and a neighbor raced to fight the eagle off. The raptor attacked the girl 3 times before they killed it with a piece of wood, bringing an end to its not deadly, but certainly frightfully reign. The golden eagle likely had a behavioral disorder, according to an eagle expert with BirdLife Norge. Yeah, okay.
No.
Maybe it was just an evil eagle.
Yeah, one thing that always spooks me is birds.
Yeah, because there's no rhyme or reason to. This bicycle courier was riding down a mountainside when the eagle came up behind him and said he thought a human was trying to shove him down the mountainside, but then the bird attacked him 5 more times, scratching and clawing his face and arms as he sprinted down the mountain. Again, this eagle struck 4 different times before it was struck by a piece of wood and rendered flightless. So The golden eagle, common in Norway and the Scandinavian countries, second largest bird of prey, with a wingspan of about 6.5 feet, typically eats smaller animals as well as foxes and sheep. Both the toddler and the other victims needed stitches and medication for deep gouges. I guess the beak and the claws kind of got them. So
I was looking at that, by the way. What did we say? 6 on that wingspan there? 6.5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Wembanyama, 8 feet wingspan. So I mean, not quite a Wemby.
Not quite a Wemby.
That's how we're going to start measuring these birds' wingspan. Not quite a full Wemby. That's about 3/4.
Almost a Wemby.
That's almost a Wemby. A 3/4 Wemby. Either way, I don't like. The bird situation. They're beautiful and I love. They're majestic. I enjoy looking at them and they are.
As long as they're well behaved.
Man, yeah. When they turn in a hurry.
Yeah.
And don't mess with them.
That's kind of nuts.
That's like, have you seen the pictures? We were talking about this the other day of owls, and when they have legs and they can run basically. You ever seen a picture of that? We'll save that for next Wild and Wacky Wednesday. That is a terrifying thing to see, an owl running.
Yeah.
With long legs. Like why do owls have that? They don't need them type of legs.
On top of everything else.
Look, I'm showing you this picture.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is this thing's like running on its back legs here.
Oh Lord, no.
Look at that.
We don't need that.
No.
Oh. Finally, a tiger escaped from a Mexican zoo was last seen along the Rio Grande. So if you are in South Texas, just keep an eye out. The Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office is warning local residents to keep an eye out after a Bengal tiger escaped from its enclosure at the nearby Quinta La Fauna Zoo in Reynosa, Mexico.
No,
that's too much.
Like I'm moving like several counties
north
out of the way before I return.
The zoo announced they would be closed until further notice as the search for the cat continues. Did not offer further details. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Zoo staff did not notice the adult tiger was missing after finding the mesh to the enclosure destroyed. So they found the mesh destroyed and later found, Tony's not here.
No.
Yeah. Tread lightly in South Texas.
That is terrifying. And, by all accounts, could be nice, could be lovable, but
I'm not trying to find out.
I'm not trying to find out.
No.
There's no doubt about that.
No.
Bengal think about this. If that tiger watched what they did versus the Patriots this past weekend, he's got a point to prove. Because, that is a ticked off Bengal tiger.
Yeah, we're not all that,
So I ain't
inept.
Steer clear. Yeah, trying to put some respect on that tiger's name. I ain't messing with that.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's going to do it for Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Come back with us tomorrow at 2 o'clock right here. We will have East Nashville's Damian Harris, and we will have Cherie Kemp talking about Athletes Unlimited. We'll see y'all tomorrow.